It's Monday. It's 8 p.m. What else could it be? The Monday assessment.
Your people gather round your town when things are on the up or things are falling down. Celebrate the high times, stay passionate through the lows, find strength in the chaos, no matter which way it goes. It's not easy being blue. Heartbreak comes in many ways, the hardest times, the darkest days, but all these things get washed away with us, with us. The highs might not come every day, but memories do, and memories stay. Enjoy that moment anyway with us, with us, with us. It's not easy being blue. It's not easy being blue.
Evening everyone and welcome back to the Monday Assessment by the View from the Medway Fancast, sponsored by Snod Hershey's Car Sales and Service Station and Wicked Creative, and in partnership with Sports Social Podcast Network and Her Game 2. Saturday's game reminded us all why supporting Gillingham is not recommended for people with high blood pressure. Gillingham 2, Tranmere 1, thanks largely to Ronan Hale, who decided his full home debut was the perfect time to announce himself with 2 goals and absolutely no regard to Tranmere Rovers' defensive well-being. One tidy, one scrappy, both beautiful in their own stressful way. Tranmere did pull one back late on, just to make sure that the final 10 minutes felt like an hour, and suddenly every clearance was being celebrated like a goal. So today, we're breaking it all down, the goals, the nerves, and why Gills wins rarely look like they're allowed to be comfortable. I'm joined this evening by
co-host David. I'm joined by Ollie Weeks from Weeks Football Finds and Mr. Brains himself, Beanhead. Just want to add that we don't have any females present on the panel tonight because they've not played 109 games for England. So with that, David, how's your week been?
Yes, all good, mate. Nice to get 3 points and looking positive.
Yeah, and Ollie yourself, mate. Obviously, you do your. I really appreciate these. To be fair, like you're really short videos, and I think Matt Boosie alluded to it yesterday. With your, you get so much into one video, mate, and I really appreciate that. So, how's your week been?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, it's always better when you've won, isn't it?
Yeah, and Phil.
Yeah, same as the others, really. Yeah, always nice when we've won a game at the weekend. So, yeah, all positive.
All positive. All positive. I'm sure it's not 100% positive. So we will quickly move on to this week, and it is back this week because we do have a proper Guess Who panel. Please don't say anything. But he's played for Gillingham, Cambridge, Port Vale, Bootle, and Harrogate. And I'll give you a clue. He was part of our title-winning campaign in 2012. So there we go. I'll give you that one. We don't have the actual lineups this week because the sign-off for a couple of the pictures for copyright infringements and stuff wasn't in until 6:45, and I didn't have time to do the rest. So we will go straight on to the lineups for the weekend. And we have Glenn Morris in goal, Romeo Hutton, Omar Beckles, Travis Akamaya, Max Clark, G-Mac, Coleman, Amani Little, Bradley Dack, Ronan Hale, and Sam Vokes. So, Ollie, I'll go with you first, mate, and your thoughts on the lineup when they came out at 1:45.
Yeah, I think you could tell it was going to be like a 4-2-3-1 or how you've got it. But I was a little bit concerned prior to the game that Hale was going to be playing right out on the wing like he did at Notts County. Didn't necessarily work out like that in play, but definitely was concerned pre-game.
Yeah, I think, Phil, to be fair, I think it was a diamond, wasn't it? I think it could have been anything really, but for me, it was a diamond to start off with. Maybe
I felt GMAC was still quite high up on it. I felt it was quite lopsided. Personally, I never really felt like Armani was constantly getting out to the left. I felt Clark pretty much had to do the whole left-hand side on his own. because Hale played narrower, shall we say, than he perhaps did at Notts County. I think it was a lot more central. I still don't buy into the ethos that he was playing left wing at Notts County. But there you go. It's my opinion.
There we go. And David, yourself, mate.
Yeah, it was nice to see some changes from the Notts County game. Obviously, I think the big surprise was Gale being completely left out after his stint at right back. It's glad to see Akimoa given another game. I thought him and Beckles played quite well together at Notts County, so to see them given another chance was good. And a couple of what I call the undroppables, Mackenzie and Andrews, both left out, rested, rotated, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, no, I was happy to see Vokes come in for Andrews, and yeah, I can go into that a little bit more when we get to the game. But yeah, I felt that McCleary was a lot higher than he was defensive in his role. So I would probably thought it was more of a 4-2-3-1, but there were definitely times when we did slip into a diamond.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I put it up just obviously for debate, but I think within the first half an hour, to me, this is how it looked. Obviously, there's variables, we can change it, and it's a little bit more fluid. But yeah, for me, that's how it looked to begin with. So we will jump straight into the game, and David, I'll go with you and your thoughts on the game.
Yeah. First half, I thought was definitely better than the second half. Yeah, I was, as I mentioned earlier, I was much happier to see Vokes in up top. I think Andrews, for all his effort, for me, the ability just isn't there. And I think Vokes showed that he's, even at his age now, is a much better player than Josh Andrews. And I thought the way that him and Hale linked up throughout the game, I thought was good. I thought we looked solid at the back. As much as we can. I thought the Beckles and Akimoa partnership could be causing Ainsworth a few problems, I think, because I think the fans are only going to accept Gale probably being out the team for a little bit. So unless we change formation to the dreaded, I think he's going to have a decision to make, because I think they're going to take some shifting. I know, again, it was only Tranmere. But when I get onto the second half, they did cause us a lot of problems, especially down their left, our right. I thought Patrick grew into the game, and if reports were true in January and we were looking at him, I would continue to look at him because he looked a much better player than what Aaron Rowe has been down our left for the majority of the season. Onto the second half before I get onto the goals. It just felt that, I don't know if we went into panic mode or they just got better, or it was a little bit of both. It just felt like towards the end we were definitely clinging on. And again, we had a couple of the Glenn Morris tactical injuries came into play. They're becoming my new favourite thing.
What are you talking about? No, it was fine. He was injured. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, but I kind of like it. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure on it. And obviously, Hale will steal the show for his goals. Just the way he took his goals. I think the first one was just pure instinct, and the second one, the movement, just to drop a couple of yards from the 6-yard box to win the header, thought was brilliant. And then it just felt like from that moment on we were just clinging on. I don't want to be too negative because we did win, but I think overall I still left the ground with more concerns than non-concerns, and I just don't know if it's going to be that way until the end of the season. Back to Akimoa quickly before we move on to someone else to have a go at. It'd be interesting to know. I don't know if any of you guys know if Akimoa's contract status at Watford, because if this is a trial for him, obviously I think he's doing very well, but I think we also do need to take into consideration previous players that have done well for us on loan, and then we give them these big contracts before we go into it. But everything that I think that he's done, I think he's done very well. Very casual though. I don't think he ever gets above a jog, but he does look the part. And yeah, I wouldn't be against signing him, but I do think we need to be very careful in our recruitment, because I'm sure we're going to discuss later. There is a player that we've recently recruited that I don't really know what's going on with him. So we just need to be very careful.
Yeah, and Phil, yourself, your thoughts on the game, and do we drop Sam Gale for Akamea, or is it kind of, could you see it as a kind of weaker? Because I don't think personally that Beckles is now, he's going to be undroppable, isn't he? Because he's kind of that kind of like leadership and player we need at the back. So we're now looking at either one of three. We're looking at Beckles with either Gale, Travis, or Masterson when he comes back. So yeah, your thoughts on that, and also your thoughts on the game itself.
Yeah, I think on the centre half debate, for me, I saw loads of people going, "Why isn't Gale starting?" Blah 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 blah. It's a disgrace. Blah blah blah. Yeah, get it. It's fans' favourite. But Akamea did absolutely nothing wrong in the Notts County game and fully justified starting at centre back. You don't break up a partnership when it's worked well in one game.
Yeah.
Having said that, I don't think Akamea was that great on Saturday. He did okay. I fully agree with Dave's comments about just might need a bit of more of a rocket up his arse on occasions. Reminds me of another defender we still got on our books who can be a bit casual. I think they've got all the time in the world and all that stuff, actually. But the biggest thing about him is he's not played any football. He's actually learning right now as he goes along with us, and I think a lot of fans won't really appreciate that. So I think this is a bit of a try before you buy, potentially. I do think that. I don't get why we would get him back on loan when we were fit. I know Ainsworth kind of alluded Beckles was a bit of a last minute. We'd been on it, but we didn't think it was going to come up. He was going to become available until towards the end of the window, did we? So I do wonder if would we have signed Akamea on loan for the rest of the season? We knew Beckles 100% was going to potentially be coming in, but yeah, I think it's good. I'd rather have a bit of competition. I think Sam probably has needed to have a game on the bench. In all honesty, he's still 20, 21. Again, a lot of people are forgetting this. I don't think he's done great at right back. We all know that. So sometimes just giving him a game or two on the bench isn't going to do him any harm for his development. And I thought when he did come on Saturday, he did really well. He was back to his best. So, yeah, and Smith, I do quite like Andy Smith, but he had such a shocker against Bromley for me. For me, he's behind those two for now.
Yeah.
In terms of the game, yeah, I mean, quite positive start. I couldn't work out if it was a case of Tranmere thought these aren't that good and started to believe in themselves a bit more, or we just, I mean, one thing that really, I mean, the stats are there on the screen. We just couldn't keep the ball. We could not keep the ball. And I particularly agree with Dave, like second half, it just felt we got the second and we almost then camped on the edge of our box a little bit. But equally, I just felt Tranmere's mobility in midfield just, I mean, it's been a big issue now for a few years with our midfield, but our mobility is just not there. I thought that if it was the 32, I think he was a Kenyan guy. I thought he was really good.
Abiro.
I wouldn't mind having a look at him. I thought he was very impressive.
Well, he's literally only just signed for him in the January transfer window. So I think it's a Abiro. Yeah, he's very good.
He reminded me of the guy Salford had early on in the season who ran the game in midfield actually. But again, both got mobility. I think that's the biggest. And Dak then became a passenger when we were playing against a mobile midfield. Daki, I'm sorry, I love him to bits, but he is then a passenger for us because he's not the Dak of old. And it was absolutely right that he got taken off because we needed some legs, and that was Robbie. But again, I go back to Robbie. I think Robbie's needed a break against Notts County. I thought he looked jaded. I didn't think he's not, for me, let's rewind back a clock 12, 18 months. Robbie McKenzie would never been a starting midfielder for us. It was only that injury crisis he became a starting midfielder.
Yeah.
He's always been a utility man for me. If we're really relying to get into League One with Robbie as a starting midfielder, I've got some concerns there about how good we are. But yeah, I thought it was okay. I can't get too excited. I'm sorry to be the doom monger amongst it, but I just don't trust these players at the moment. I kind of, I'm going to cruise Saturday. I just don't know what I'm going to get. And that's where I am with it. So I can't get too excited. Yeah, I'm pleased we've got 3 points. It's nice to celebrate a win, but it's one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ollie, I'll go to you, mate. And I think I kind of echo what Phil's saying in a respect, because I got back into the factory after the game and I was a little bit like, it felt like a hollow win. It just felt like, we won from literally two passages of play, and the rest of it was just a little bit shocking. So I'll go with you, mate, and your thoughts on the game. Yeah,
it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's great to win, but I'd also agree that final 25 minutes was really frustrating. It's just we never really have control of the game. We don't really have like a set pattern of play or anything that we keep, and I do think that's still down to we have a lack of balance. And Hale is definitely playing, or certainly having to play a little bit more to the left. And if we're playing sides, good teams, and Tranmere are not a good team, I think we might have problems with that, especially since like Clark will be exposed. It's difficult because it's a really good win. And you want to take the positives out, and there's one obvious real positive, Ronan Hale. Scoring 2 goals. Otherwise, I didn't actually think that he was that involved, but obviously we brought him to score goals, so there's the positive there. But I know what you guys are saying. The last 25 minutes were really frustrating. To watch a club like, or a squad like Tranmere just pin us in, and we don't pin sides in at all. It was the same possession.
Yeah, and to be fair, from where when obviously you guys know I sit right behind the dugout, row K, block E. Gareth just kept saying push, and all we kept doing for that last 25 minutes, literally just we'd kick the ball upfield and then it'd just be pressure again, and there was nothing there. And I really do think that when we brought GMAC and Daki off, it just changed the whole game. For me, Seb Palmer Holden, I don't know if he's. I don't know.
He wasn't a great cameo, was it?
I don't think. Yeah, but he wasn't good on Tuesday either, though. Phil, was he?
No.
I don't know what we've brought him in to do. Apparently, we've brought him in as a striker, and I do understand, and I do feel for him to a degree that he's been pushed out wide a lot. But even as a front man, he just runs like it's like I can run. Well, I used to be able to. You can run all day long, but you can't. I just don't see a football player.
I didn't even think his running was that good Saturday. Normally, I will. Yeah, his pressing is very good.
Yeah,
I didn't think he was good at that. It almost felt like I could see it. Every time I looked over, Ainsworth was almost telling him what to do.
Yeah.
It really wasn't a good cameo for me.
So I'll ask all of you a question. Like, where do you see Seb in this lineup? If indeed we are to go into next season with him, Ollie, I'll come to you first. Where would you see Seb in this lineup?
I don't see him in the starting 11. I don't see him in the starting 11. If he was going to play, his natural position is through the middle. He's not got that type profile to play out wide, does he? I don't see him in that starting 11. I think it's really difficult, isn't it? There's plenty of other players who would play ahead of him. I'd see him as an impact sub. I think it's also he's just void of confidence as well. He really looks like a player that is void of confidence. But we got him. Didn't we get him on a 3-year deal? I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah.
So he's going to be here. You'd think next season, 100%. Of course he is. But he does look really void of confidence. He doesn't look like he's ever played this level before. A little bit.
Yeah, and that's quite shocking, David. Obviously, you love a striker, or not.
I'm not gonna. He hasn't got to my point yet where I'm gonna completely judge him yet. I take Marcus Wiley out of the equation because he's clearly not going to be used. But when you take into account how many games Josh Andrews has played, how many games Elliot Nevitt played, Seb's not really been given. I don't even know what his longest run in the team's been. It can't be more than 3. So for a striker, he's never really given a chance. And he may even be. His attitude might be that he's too easy to drop. He might not have that "don't drop me" attitude. He might not question the manager on why are you dropping. He might just accept it, and that's on him to change the manager's mind. Because if not, the way Hale started, and you got to think he's been brought in to start, and at least for this season, he's going to play with a big man, and then next year they've got the decision to make with. Obviously, Vokes and Andrews, I believe, are both out of contract. So if neither of them stay or we go and get another big man, Seb's going to be the backup to Hale, isn't he? He's going to be, if Hale's tired on 70 minutes, Seb's going to come on. And it's his job to make that 20 minutes count. And like Phil said, this week he did a little bit of running, but he just did nothing with it. And
it didn't help
that's on him to improve, and he's got to watch Hale and see if he can learn from someone like that. And it's on him, really. As Ollie mentioned, he's got a 3-year contract. He's got 2 years left. It's either you try and better yourself, or potentially at some point, maybe January next year, he may find himself out on loan somewhere.
That position he played at Notts County, I'm pretty sure he was playing that at Dundee and at Newport before, though. Yeah, when I researched him a bit more pre-season, I think that is really his position. It doesn't look as if he could play that, but I think that is what he's used to in that 4-3-3 system.
Yeah.
So I just want to quickly touch on another player that's got a 3-year contract. I did rate him when he first came in. He's kind of fallen off the board a little bit. So, Ollie, I'll stick with you with that, and it is Andy Smith. What do you think that Andy Smith has to do? Because like he had a few good games when he first come in. He had a few good games at the start of the season. I just feel like he's quite a lot becoming a little bit of a liability. If that's a little bit,
I don't think he's a natural centre half. I think he's more of a right side of a free, or somebody that can defend wide. And I think that suited us when we brought him in. What was his? I think his first game was Walsall away, wasn't it? I think, and he was really good in that game last season, or maybe I think it was 1-1. And
mate, I've slept since then.
Yeah, it was definitely his first game, I think. But now we've got Beckles, Akame's, Gale. I don't see how he fits into that back four, and he's not commanding enough to play in that in a 2. But he's a good player. He's good in the ball. His work ethic's definitely there, and he definitely wants to be at the club, which is really important. I'd much rather that than maybe Chad Ogie, and I don't know the ins and outs of that, but I don't know how motivated he actually is to play for us compared to Smith.
Yeah, and Phil, yourself, your thoughts on Andy Smith, because I spoke to him at the Player of the Year Awards, and I speak to him regularly. We talk on WhatsApp and stuff like that, and talk about different things. And I like him as a person, but just because you like someone as a person doesn't mean that you have to rate him as a player, I guess. Do you think that maybe he was good at Grimsby? I know that Grimsby fans loved him. He then went back to Hull. He's then come to us. Do you think that he's a bad player, or do you think that the players we've got in that position are just better?
No, I still think there's a good player in there. I think he's proved that when he has played back into last year, start of this season. Again, I think he's not playing much football. He said that season at Grimsby, but he's not played that. And how many, he's most this season he's not played alongside an experienced partner. If anything, he has been the experienced centre back. So perhaps now I think that's why it's so crucial we got a Beckles character in, because these young centre halves are going to learn just so much from him. Don't get me wrong, I like Connor. If he's a quality centre half, but is he someone who's going to teach the youngsters? I'm struggling to see that as that type of player, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no.
So I think Smith I think there's I certainly wouldn't be looking to bin him off at the moment. It's his first full season with us. I certainly wouldn't be looking at that, but you're not going to be having him as your number 2 centre off at the moment, based on the way it's been. But I'm sure he can come back and be that player and put Gailey under real pressure.
Yeah, David, I think that's quite an interesting point that Phil made there, isn't it? Like, Masterson is a very experienced. He is essentially before Beckles come in, was our most experienced centre back. Do you think that we put too much pressure or too much emphasis on Connor when he is playing, or do you think that we need to give him a little bit of a break when he invariably does have a little bit of a boo-boo, shall we say?
I'd say so, yeah. I think on his day, I think Masterson's comfortably our best centre-back. Just, obviously, he's grew up through playing at Liverpool and stuff, so he's grown up and learnt from very good players. But my concern with Connor now is he can't stay fit. And he's another one that's out of contract. They've got big decisions to make around a lot of players in the summer. You can't keep players based on what they did 2 seasons ago because it's the now, and he can't stay fit. My question to you guys is, how many of our centre-backs do you think are comfortable in a 2? Because me personally feel that the majority of them look more comfortable in a 3. And that's where I think Andy Smith got found out a bit more, because I think Smith's more comfortable in a 3. You put him in a 2 and it's as if he's never played in a 2 before. It's that one position I find just seems to find a few players out, and that's my concern, because I think as fans we want a back 4. You want to play a back 4, but when you look at the players we've got, how many look comfortable in a 2?
Oh, we'll go volley with that one first.
Well, Beckles, I think you can determine who can play in the 2 as who plays the central in the 3. For which players that can play the 2. I think Akamea definitely can, and Beckles can, because we've seen it. Gale definitely can, but I would only have him on the right side of a 2. I love Gale, but his left foot is non-existent, isn't it? When he receives it on that side, he very much chops out the other way. Andy Smith, I'm not too sure about, depending on who he plays with. I think if you've got Beckles in there, that probably changes the dynamic for a lot of those players. But I think it's about the combination, isn't it? Beckles and someone else, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite weird, isn't it, Phil, that it's gone to that point where, Beckles has only been in the building a week, and we went from having Masterson and one other to then Gale and one other, and now we've gone to Beckles and one other. So what do we do? And maybe, considering we did have such a good defensive record, maybe this is why we now don't, because everyone's questioning where everyone should play.
Yeah, struggling. I think they can all play as a 2. I do believe that. It's just about combinations and stuff like that, and confidence. I think, I think it's who they're playing against. So Smith, for me, if he goes up against an experienced forward, so I've got names completely got out of my head. The Bromley striker,
Michael Cheek.
Yeah. So I can forget that. I don't know. He just knew what to do. He just nudged him out of the way, didn't he, for that second goal, which was weak from Smith. He just let that happen. And that's why I think he struggles, Smith. I think he struggles when he plays against a striker that's got a bit of nous, a bit of know. They've done the miles around the league, lower leagues and stuff like that. Although, to be fair, I will say, I think the first game towards the start of the season when we beat Chesterfield at home, him and Gailey had Will Rigg in their pocket. I don't think Will Rigg really did anything in that game. And I was really worried about that. I remember before that game. So he can do it. I just think when it's just confidence. And it is with all these young players. When they've not played that much football, they're going to have these spells. And that's why it's good to have the options, I think, that we can bring an alternative in that's going to keep them on their toes.
Yeah, definitely. Because for all the time we can sit there and say that Sam Gale's 2021, Andy Smith's only 23, 24, so he's still a very young lad. Not criticising him, I just think that you can criticise in situations. Definitely, as Phil said, against Bromley, I just think that he was non-existent for that attack from Michael Cheek. I think, he could have done a hell of a lot better there. And I think if you'd have had a lot more experienced defender in that position, he probably would have just held himself rather than go for it. I get it. It's inexperience, isn't it? Essentially. But yeah. So anything else on the game, boys, before we move on to our takeaways?
I was going to say, the only thing for me is what did you all make of Hutton coming back into the team? I think a lot of fans wanted him kind of rested / dropped. But then when you look, we've just not blessed with another fullback. And I think all the fans say he's not got any competition. But if the club don't sign another right back, that's not his fault. And by Gale's performances, he got back in. And to be fair, I thought, especially first half, I thought he started the game really well.
I'd probably say his best game as a right back.
Yeah.
Considering who he's up against.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, no, I think Hutton did really well. Like Sam Gale is an experiment that didn't work, and that's no detriment to Sam. I just think that it's not his position, is it? So Hutton there. What the hell has happened to Harry Webster? To be fair, I would have had him as a backup. I know he's out on loan somewhere, but Webster did all right last season. Like, he played really well against MK Dons. Yeah, he had a little bit of a mess up in one of the games, but he's still a young lad. But I think in the whole, he played really well. So I don't know why he's not even looked at. But yeah, Hutton coming back in was definitely needed. So yeah, we'll move on to our takeaway, and I will hand over to David so I can stop speaking.
No problem at all. So, Antwi or not Antwi? Phil, I'll come to you first. We've been told, or so we're aware, is that Gareth gets final sign-off on transfers. Does this transfer back up that statement, or is it just Gareth's just not confident enough to put him in the team just yet? Because it's bizarre, isn't it?
Yes and no. I'm not too worried by it. I think we're panicking a bit too much here. I've noticed in the past, I couldn't name you any, but I'm sure there's been in the past we've played some players and they've not come into the team straight away necessarily. He wasn't getting in the Newport team every week, let's be clear. I think he's a player that we've bought to be Daki's successor. So I think there's a lot for him at the moment of observing from the bench and watching what Daki does and learning from him. It could be he's just not impressed in training since signing. It could be as simple as that. So Gareth's not felt that he can stick him in just right now. I don't buy into that. It's not a Gareth signing. It's a recruitment team signing. I'm not buying into that. I just think it's he'll get games. I'm sure of that. I just don't think Saturday wasn't the right time to bring him off for Daki because of why we're under the cosh and he wanted to make it a bit more solid and secure, hence Robbie coming on. When we did win that game, he came on. All right, it was a few minutes, but we did win. And okay, didn't start Notts County, but we're away against a team who ended up being second in the league. Was you going to start him there, or were you going to go a bit more defensively solid like he did? So I think we've got to look at who we've played and what's happened in those games, and then start to assess it over a longer period for me.
Okay, and Ollie, I'll come to you. Obviously, he's played 8 minutes, I believe, since he's been at the club, and there's obviously a lot of concerns around Daki being able to play multiple times in a week. Were you more shocked that he didn't play this game, or were you more shocked that he didn't play at the Notts County game, considering Dak didn't also play against Notts County? The fact that they didn't go for that like-for-like swap, they went for the experiment of the free forwards.
I wasn't surprised at the weekend for the context of the game against Tranmere. As you said, Phil, obviously we've gone a bit more defensive, so it made sense. I think if we were 3-0 up, he probably comes on, or even 2-0 up, he probably comes on. Notts County, I was a bit more surprised. I wasn't surprised that he wasn't in the starting lineup, but not coming on, especially when we were chasing the equaliser. I was a bit confused as to why he didn't come on. But then also, it is really early, isn't it? It's 2 or 3 games in, and we only signed him a day before the Bromley game, or a day or two. I just think it's a bit early now. I think he'll feature against Crewe. I definitely do. And that's about the opposition as well. I think often we set our team up to play against the opposition. So Notts County will try to be a bit more solid. The Tranmere lineup was probably to fit Hale in on that left-hand side and then go back to back four. I just think I think it's actually good that we got him on the bench. We got him as the option, and we got more people to talk about. It would be, I think, more of a problem if we were talking about not having a player like Cameron Antwi on the bench.
And Chris, come Saturday, obviously at Notts County game, Seb Palmer Holden hadn't started a game since the 1st of January, and then out of nowhere started a game. Would you be surprised if come Saturday the team lineup comes out and Cameron Antwi's in there?
I wouldn't be surprised at all, mate, to be honest. I mean, Gareth, I think this is probably one of his weaknesses. He likes to chop and change too much. I'm okay with him changing, a couple of players here and there, but it just seems to be every week we get a different group of players, or some players that are the same, but then a different variation of formation. I think if we just stick with one formation and have the same 11 and just get some cohesion there, then I think that it would be a lot better. With regards to Cameron, I think I kind of echo what Ollie says. Situational stuff within games that we've played recently, maybe he wasn't right for it. I don't think that there's anything to read into it, considering it's only been like 2 or 3 games. I think if we were talking about 10 games time, then maybe you'd think, well, hang on a minute, is that a Gareth signing? Caveat that I've been told that every player gets signed off by Gareth. Therefore, what we, at the end of the day, you can sign a player and not play him for 2 or 3 games. It doesn't mean that you don't fancy him. It's just fans just need to look for something, don't they, sometimes, to think, oh, well, he's not been played, so therefore we need to make a thing about it. I don't think it's that. I just think that Cameron is probably not been in the plans purely because of formation-wise, and that's been his, downfall there, because Gareth's picked something that he didn't feel that Cameron could be part of. That's it. Simple. It's not really that much deeper than that.
Cool. And we'll move on to the next one. King of the new magic hat. So new signing, Ronan Hale, obviously got off to a great start on his first full start at home, scoring 2 goals. And Chris, I'll come back to you to start this one, because obviously on our WhatsApp group, you've been comparing him to Gillingham great Cody McDonald. Do we need to be careful? I know we've been, and myself here, quite negative of previous signings that haven't hit the ground running. He's obviously hit the ground running. Do we need to be careful with comparing him to the likes of Cody McDonald? And then do we also need to be patient if he now goes on a little run where he doesn't score again?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, Cody's my absolute hero. But there were vibes of Cody on Saturday, because what Cody used to do, he could disappear for 80 minutes and then just come up with absolute worldie, or he can just disappear. He doesn't have to be constant. And I don't think Ronan was constant on Saturday. I think other than his 2 goals, he wasn't really in the game. And I don't mind that from a striker, because for me, a striker is to score goals. I don't care about the rest of the game, so long as you're scoring, whatever. And yeah, I think he was brilliant at that Saturday. There were a couple of times where he got a touch on the ball and was making runs and stuff, but yeah, in the main, for me, he needs to be that fox in the box, essentially, like Cody was. And I feel like that he's that kind of player. We do have to temper expectations slightly, because he's only played 2 games, 2.5 games. So we can't sit there now and say, oh, okay, so now he's going to score every week. We can't be expecting that, mate. And as you allude to, we can't. So for me, it would be, yes, it's nice that he scored 2 goals. We can celebrate that. We can appreciate that. It's nice to have a striker that wants to be there and is a fox in the box, which I think that a lot of us have been shouting out for a long time. I think the last time we've had a decent striker was with Dane Oliver, wasn't it? So, yeah, it's nice. It's nice that we've got a striker. Let's not put too much pressure on him just yet. We should temper that expectation to a degree. But at the same time, you just appreciate it and look at it as for what it is on Saturday. And it was absolutely brilliant. The volley was brilliant. The header, for someone that's 5'9", he's about the same height as me, so he's really short. To get up and do that against some massive defenders was brilliant, mate. Yeah.
And Phil, I'll come to you. So we obviously don't want to put pressure on the man, but I'm going to ask you a question that's going to put pressure on the man. Is looking ahead to next season, obviously, everyone's going to say, oh, we need someone to get 15, 20 goals. What type of return would you see as a success this season for Ronan Hale? So say end of the season, what number would you like him to have to make you think that next year he could be the man that leads us towards a promotion push?
15.
And what did you make of his partnership with Sam Vokes? And do you think he is the type of striker like a Cody Mack that needs a big man next to him, or do you think he could lead the line on his own?
Well, first question, I think he can get 10 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Big man partnership, maybe. I thought they linked up okay. I wasn't blown away, is my own personal opinion of their link up. What I find more interesting is his link up with other players. So this is where I would be getting excited by him, and particularly in that Bromley second half when he came on, is his link up with our, let's say, more quality players. How often do we say things like Daki's on a different, playing field to everyone else? He sees the pass that no one else sees. Well, how many times already have we seen Ronan linking up with Daki, Ronan linking up with McCleary? All those players who've played at that slightly higher level and have got that bit of nous about how to unlock things. And I've seen a lot of that already in him. And that's why I think we can get excited personally. I think he at the end of the day, he's been linked with League One. He signed for us. I think that says a lot. Okay, it was in Scotland and people might dampen that down, but I do think there's some real quality there, and I think he's shown that. I agree with Chris, he wasn't maybe that much in the game on Saturday necessarily, but it always felt like he was a threat to their defence. They were worried about him. It never felt like they couldn't switch off with him around, and that's brilliant. Whereas, let's be honest, in the last few years, the defence could probably switch off with some of our attackers. They probably could, couldn't they? They probably, for a few minutes, they could switch off and go, oh, we're all right here. I don't think you can switch off with him around at all. And that's brilliant to have, because that's going to, I think it's going to really keep us in games a lot more than perhaps we have been in the past. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, and I just want to interject, sorry, before you go to Ollie.
Sure.
I think what Phil was saying is right, because they're so switched on to him, and they need to be switched on to him, it can then bring other players into the game that they aren't so switched on for, and it could then lead to them players scoring as well. So, it's a collective thing.
And Ollie, it's been mentioned by everyone. You mentioned it in your overview of the match. The periods of play where he did disappear and we didn't notice him, but he scored 2 goals. How important is it for him that if he does go through these patches, that he does, when the chances come, take his chances? Because we've had players in the past, like Phil was mentioning, we've had your Elliot Nevitts and even your Seb Palmer Holdens, that you do notice because they're running around like a blue-ass fly, but not doing anything. But he's stayed quiet, the chances have come, and he's put them away. How important is it now to keep that momentum and make sure that if he is quiet, that chance comes, that he does put it away?
Yeah, I think he will just put him away. That's just his. I think he's that type of player. I'm going to put loads of pressure on him. I think he's going to score 250 goals for Gills. I think he's,
this season?
I think this season, yeah. I think it costs
Jesus Christ, mate, we've only got 17 games left.
Yeah, 250 goals by the end of the year. No, so 250 grand, whatever it costs, I think he's already made about $2,000 back of that, because he's going to get 250. No, I think he's brilliant. He's obviously that type of player that he will just score those chances. I hope so, and I hope he carries it on. I think it is really important for him, but then he doesn't strike me as a player who needs that confidence. I think he's got quite a lot of intrinsic confidence in himself anyway. He seems very confident in himself and his goal scoring ability. The only thing that concerns me isn't about him, but it's our shape. And I still don't like the fact that we play him on the left side, because I think that affects us defensively and in our build-up play still. I would much rather see a system somehow, I don't know how, otherwise I'd be Ainsworth, wouldn't I? But somehow where we can play him as a 2 actually up front, not offset, because I think even in our press, it's a problem. And it will leave Clark exposed, especially in the back 4 as well. Especially against clubs like Crewe. They got Tommy O'Reilly at the weekend. All they need is one overlapping fullback, and they're going to be in every time, aren't they?
Yeah.
And before we move on to the Beckles thing, going off the back of what Ollie says, do you see him playing off the left for the majority of the season? Just the way it's kind of gone. Do you see us moving to a 2 up top? Because I personally think this is the way that Ainsworth likes playing, and I do think you will see him move into the middle, but I think the majority of the time, I think he'll be slightly out left.
Yeah. I think if we're in a back 5, then you probably might be a bit more 5-3-2.
Yeah. 5-3-2-1, yeah.
Yeah, defensively, especially away from home, maybe. But I don't suspect he'll change the formation based on the fact we won at the weekend. I think he'll probably keep it similar. And I also think it depends who we have available, other attacking options. So if McCleary's playing as well, because I definitely think we are playing lopsided, but if he's not there and Antwi comes in, I think Antwi's more of like a sort of left-sided inverted midfielder, really, more like Aaron Rowe. So it'd be interesting to see where he'll play.
I hope not.
Aaron Rowe. He's difficult to watch at times, isn't he, Aaron Rowe? But I hope there's a quality Aaron Rowe that we're seeing.
God. No disrespect, Aaron, but yeah, I hope not. Oh, God.
Phil, you've smirked a few times when people have said about him coming off the left. Come on.
Well, for me, he plays in that narrow channel. He did it at Notts County, right? Again, I just get frustrated people don't understand. I swear they say stuff when they play football, right? He was playing in the left-sided channel. So he wasn't dead centre. He wasn't stuck out in the wing. He wasn't on the touchline dribbling past people, was he? Therefore, he was not playing as a winger. Okay? But we're playing Notts County. So therefore, when they're trying to attack, you've got to expect that player to drop in and maybe go a bit wider because he's going to maybe cover the fullback bombing on or something like that. Or do we just keep him up front and playing narrow and doing nothing? But he's going to do that away from home. At home, like he did on Saturday, he didn't do it as much because he kind of didn't need to.
Yeah.
And particularly when we switched to 2 up, it was 2 up front because we changed the formation in the second half. So I do think he's going to play that kind of narrowy forward left, I'm going to call it, if I was playing Football Manager role. He's not playing on the wing. Okay.
No,
I will.
He's playing on the left. He's definitely playing on the left. He's not playing on the wing, but he's definitely playing on the left.
Right, okay. Can I put a question to you, Phil, then? Right. So for me, he was playing on the wing against Notts County. He's now playing up front. For me, it was like a left side of a 2 against Tranmere. I mean, no disrespect to Tranmere when I say this, but do you think that maybe we were narrow against Tranmere because they're not as good as Notts County?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're at home.
Yeah.
He was definitely more narrow, but he was still narrow for me at Notts County. And we'll stop it there.
Okay. All right.
We will now move on to Beckles Be Good. Ollie, I'll start with you on this one. A couple of questions. If, say, come end of the season, we offer Armani Little a new contract and he decides to sign it, would Beckles be your captain next season? And also, have we missed a trick? Because I know Warren's been shouting it from the rooftops on this show constantly about getting an experienced leader that throws himself in. Do you think we've missed a trick by not having this type of player for a very long time? Because he seems to have settled instantly.
Yes, I would have him as the captain for 2 reasons. Just because he's really used to that, and I just don't like Armani Little as the captain. I don't think it works. Now you've got so many different experienced players around Little who are far more experienced than him. I actually think it just looks just doesn't feel right at all with Vokes, McCleary, Dak, Beckles. So yeah, I would take it and I'd give it to Beckles in the summer. And yeah, I do think we have missed a player like Beckles for similar reasons that we spoke about earlier. in terms of the players around him defensively. And also because that just seems to work in League Two, doesn't it? You look at, I mean, Walsall really dropped off, but everyone was saying pre-season having Aidan Flint would have been a good signing. I was sceptical of that until I started watching more of the season, and now Beckles come in. Obviously, it's been 3 games, but it seems a little bit better suited to that style. Apparently, he wasn't playing very well in League One, and that's a very different style of football. League Two, he's used to it, hasn't he? Got promoted with Leyton Orient. He's very comfortable at this level.
And Phil, I'll come to you. Obviously, his age is probably one of the reasons that we signed him. But for the 2 games he's played the right side of a 2. When we normally play a back 4, the right side of the 2 has either been Conor Masterson, and at times it's been Sam Gale with Andy Smith predominantly the left-sided centre back. Does signing someone with experience when you've got young centre halves that are fans' favourite, is it a risk, or is this just Ainsworth saying, I need this player and I don't care if it means Sam Gale's on the bench. I need Beckles in my team.
Yeah, I'll go back to kind of what we've already discussed there. We're talking through all the centre-off option. We need someone at that back who's going to pull people into position, scream at them. We also need someone who's just going to get their head on everything. Some of the best centre-halves who've played against us in the last 2 or 3 years, they've not done anything amazing. They've just got their bloody head on the ball every time. They're always there in the right position, putting their body in the way, blocking things. I think, is it O'Connor? I think he's the centre-half. Is at Newport. No, he didn't play the last game, but last few times he's come down. I think early in the season he played centre-half. He had an amazing game against us. He didn't do anything amazing. He just got his head on everything. He was constantly there. And that's, the last time we had someone like that was you're going back to Adam Barrett days. Someone just organised, got his head on everything. You just need that in League Two. You just need that. And if you've got another centre-half who's going to learn the game alongside them, it's going to do them so much good. I've got to say, if we weren't getting him in, I'd love to have got that number 15 in Bromley at centre-half in the Bromley game, because he was unbelievable for them.
Who was that? What
was
his
name?
name?
He was on loan from Port Vale. He was so good.
What was his name?
Jesse Deborah.
Deborah, yeah.
Isn't they signed both of
Considering
them
only come in a couple
before
of days
our game?
before as well.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dave, yeah.
And Chris, finally to you, with Beckles, more off the pitch, how important is it for, again, we keep mentioning how young our defenders are, how important is it now for the next 6 months for some of them that are potentially out of contract, but I don't know how long his contract is. I would guess 18 months.
3 years. 2.5 years, isn't it?
Oh, blimey. Well, no wonder he signed it then. How important is it for while he's here that these young players just literally soak up everything from him? Because we've heard from John at Snodhurst, when he goes down to training grounds, he sees what the forwards are trying to soak up from Sam Vokes. How important is it now that the defenders do the same with Omar Beckles?
Oh, it's vitally important, mate. Like, you can't understate the experience that these players have. Everyone goes, oh yeah, Sam Vokes is old or GMAC is old. The experience that they've got and what they can actually pass on to the younger generation, you can't understate it. Really, it's absolutely fantastic. I do think that he will be a mainstay in the first team for the next year, and then maybe gradually drop back. I think it will be a massive help for Sam Gale. I really do think that. I think that it's probably going to be a massive help for Logan Dobbs as well when he comes through, or if he comes through. You can't understate it, mate. That experience. I didn't play at the best level, but you'd always have a player that was a couple of years older that you always looked up to. I wasn't a central defender, but it's the same premise, isn't it? You'd look up to that player and you'd learn from them and you'd watch them play football and then you try and pick up what they're doing. But yeah, I think it's brilliant. It really is. And someone turned around the other night on one of the Facebook groups and said, oh, Beckles is slow, didn't rate him, he was too casual. He's casual because he knows what he's doing. He doesn't have to be Mr. 100% all the time. He knows where to be. He knows his positioning. Doesn't have to be panic stations. He just knows what he's doing. And I really do think, given our defence has been probably our strongest point over the last couple of years, it's now kind of waned a little bit. So bringing him in is going to really like give the boys a bit of a kick up the arse.
Cool. I'll hand back to you, mate.
Oh, is it me? So move on to the referee. So we won't stay long on the ref. Obviously, Craig Hicks was the ref on Saturday. So I'm just going to go around I'll go David first, then Ollie, then Phil. Marks out of 10 for reffing.
I'll probably give an 8. I didn't really notice him. I think it's because I was petrified we were going to concede a goal for majority of the second half. But yeah, it felt like I didn't really notice he was there. I saw on your stats there was no bookings. Yeah, I think when he the only thing with me where you can downgrade potentially is time wasting this season. I feel like it's off the chain at the moment. It just feels it's constant. Teams just slowing up play, whether it's us or whether it's the opposition. And it almost feels like the few seasons ago where we were having double digits for injury time. It's almost going back to the normal 1 or 2 minutes in the first half and 5 in the second half. So I think they could do something around that. But for me, his performance, was all right. I never left thinking that he'd had a shocker.
Yeah, and Ollie, your thoughts on Craig Hicks's refereeing performance at the weekend?
He's better than who was the ref we had at Grimsby away? Kennard. Oh god, he's better.
Kennard Kettle, bloody hell. So, but no, to be fair, mate, he did really well when we played Harrogate.
He did actually. Yeah, that is a good point. Really fair play to him. I still can't get over that Grimsby trip. So but I didn't notice Craig Hicks, so he can have a 10 out of 10 because I think the best refs you just don't even notice.
Christ.
Yeah, that's relative to the reffing level that we have.
Yeah. Oh. And Phil, your thoughts on that?
7 or an 8. I have to admit, he got that back pass right, didn't he, Dave? You know,
he did.
I mean, not many of our fans got that back pass right. So you know,
I thought it was a back pass. I really did.
No. Your knee above the knee is not a back pass.
I was talking to my mate Scott next to me, and everyone was going, "Hey!" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll get involved as well. Why not?"
But yeah, 7 or an 8. I'm not going to go wild like Ollie. 10 out of 10. Jeez, a ref, for God's sake, Ollie. Come on.
Team in the Prem. Or you won't. That's why he'd be so good.
This is when we find out Ollie's a referee.
I am. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Don't do it anymore. Too good.
Oh well, that's good.
Too good.
Anyway, so we've had Phil's opinion on Craig Hicks. We will touch on Phil's thoughts before we move on to our man of the matches.
After the week we had, we needed a win. So thank goodness we got all 3 points today. However, when McCleary and Ducky went off, we were a different team. And unfortunately, we rode our luck to grind out that result. Still, on the bright side, 2 goals from Hale. He is a force to be reckoned with. Really pleased he's joined the squad. What can I say? Onwards and upwards, and up the Gills.
There we go, up the Gills indeed. So we will get on to our man of the matches. And Ollie, we will go with you first, mate. And you've gone for Romeo Hutton. Your reasons as to why.
Yeah, I did this for a discussion point more than anything. Obviously, my heart, I'd have Hale. I thought he was really, really good at the weekend, and it's great to have him back in. I've always said it. I think he's a better right back than a right wing back, and I think he plays better when he has a player in front of him that he can overlap or back up. So McCleary. But I thought he was really good defensively as well. And even I know Amari Patrick is a very good player. He's a very good player. I'd love to have him at Gills, but I thought, he grew into the game, but Hutton was showing him back the other way quite a lot. He was getting really tight, really aggressive. He didn't lose the ball much. A lot of the time he gets a lot of criticism for sort of just clipping it, doesn't he, into just an area. But he didn't lose the ball a lot. I think it didn't work with Gale, did it, at all? I think everyone can agree with that. That's not necessarily a reflection of Gale. But I went for Romeo Hutton, man of the match.
There we go. And we will then move on to David, and you've gone for Ethan Coleman.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the best performances I've seen him in a Jill shirt. And I've said in our WhatsApp group, for me, he's comfortably the most natural holding midfield player that we've got. Yeah. And it then begs the question, why at times, I know we were clinging on a little bit, but for me, we should never have a midfield really where you've got Coleman, McKenzie and Little in the same team. Because for me, it doesn't work. And it's too defensive. And that's why I think at the Notts County game, it was almost like 8 at the back and then 3 up front. And you need that dynamism. And I think with him in the team, I think you can be have a bit more attacking in the midfield, because it's just so natural for him. He doesn't mind coming deep to receive the ball. Yes, he does pass a lot sideways, but I think he breaks up the play really well. And for me, he was, again, a bit like what Ollie said. I think Hale took all the plaudits, but for me, Coleman was superb.
Yeah. Cheers, David. And Phil, you have gone for Ronan Hale himself. I don't think we need to ask too many reasons as to why, but we will.
Yeah, no, I think we've chosen the right 3 here. I think Ollie's right. I thought Hutton had a good game. My criticism of Hutton is that, which he didn't do Saturday, is he just retreats when he's engaged by a left winger, rather than going and engaging with them. Whereas Saturday he engaged a lot more, and hence he had a much more positive performance for me. Coleman, I felt, was my man of the match, in honesty, but I gave it to Hale just because in the end he was the difference maker for me, because he scored those 2 goals.
Yeah.
Would we have won the game without him in the team? I'm struggling.
Well, we would have lost.
Yeah, he's just that difference maker for me. And that's what it proved to be. But I think Coleman was probably the next. But again, with Ethan, it suited him. I still feel with Ethan, he's our best holding midfielder. But when we're under the cosh, he's brilliant, as we were second half. So again, it suited his game. When we're away from home, I think it suits his game because we're their away team. He just sits in front of that back 4 or 5. When we're the attacking team and we need to go forwards, that's when I struggle with him being in the side, personally. Yeah. I don't think we need him there necessarily. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that, Phil. Thank you very much. And I've gone for Ethan Coleman as well. It could have very well been either one of, Romeo Hutton definitely was very close with Ronan Hale. But I just feel that he gets too much criticism for me sometimes, Coleman. I just think, he passes it left, he passes it right, but he's doing the dog work, he's doing the grunt work that no one else really can do in that midfield. I just feel that he was, again, they echo what David said a lot, but I just feel that he was there, he needed to be there, he wanted to be there, he was just getting all like gritting teeth, getting into it, getting there, doing what he needed to do, and then getting us out of a few sticky situations as well in the process. So, yeah.
Did you keep him in the summer?
Yes, 100%.
So with that in mind, what are you going to do with the rest of that midfield? Would you keep McKenzie? Would you keep Little?
McKenzie.
I'd keep McKenzie, yeah. Just because he can do more.
So you can play in more roles, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever see a role with Coleman, especially in a home game, like you said, Phil, in a home game is probably where he's better. Do you not think that you could have Coleman and then an Antwin attack in front of him? Or do you think that's just too crazy?
Maybe a bit too bold. You could play McKenzie as your holding man in a home game, possibly when you're looking to attack more, because Robbie's got a bit more about his game, hasn't he, from an attacking sense? But he can do that job of Coleman just as well, really. Mm-hmm. I just go back to what I said. The dynamism in midfield is I feel we've got to change it somehow. I'd only play Ethan in certain games next season.
Yeah.
And I would say he's probably one of the best holding midfielders actually in the division. He ain't many better on his day.
No. I do think we need that bit of depth next season. I wouldn't say that Coleman would play every season, every game. Yeah. I do feel that we need to handpick his games, because there are big games where we can actually be on the ascendancy a hell of a lot more, as you've alluded to. He's good when we need him to be good, but he's not good when we need to attack. But
could he be our Darren Fletcher?
Maybe.
Anyway, boys, we will move on back to our Guess Who, and our Guess Who has played for Cambridge, he's played for Bootle, he's played for Harrogate, he's played for Port Vale, amongst other clubs. So I will go with Ollie first, and you'll guess as to who it is.
Yeah, just quickly, he's played for Little Common FC as well. This is Leon Legg.
There we go. Phil?
Yeah, Leon Legg.
There we go. Didn't make that very difficult. David, I'm guessing you've gone Leon Legg as well.
Leon Legg, yeah.
And we've got a Leon Legg there. Oh, God, didn't make it hard at all this week, did I? Well, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So, and that's what the missus says as well. So we'll have a look ahead. Oh God, still got the bloody thing up there. Where is it? So like, this is the thing. My PC is running so slow at the moment that it takes me a while to get. There we go. So we'll have a look ahead. So we are playing Crewe at Gresty Road on Saturday. I will go with Phil first. Your obviously hopes and aspirations are to win, but they've drawn one, and we've won one, lost one. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, they've picked up, haven't they? They're 8th, I think. I looked last, so they're on the fringes, and I actually was surprised because I thought they were similar to us in terms of league position until recently. So they've obviously picked up. Well, we can see them. The last time they lost was 5 games ago. So they've picked up. It's not a happy hunting ground for us either, is it? But if we've got any hope of really going for it, I think Gareth's got to be looking to get 3 points for me. So I'd like to see us just beat them up. Crewe always tend to play quite nice football, don't they? Although I think in the last few years they've adapted a little bit. They're not quite the Crewe of old. But can we just go and beat them up a little bit and then nick a 1-0 or a 2-0 with Mr. Howell knocking them in the net again?
Yeah, and David, yourself, wasn't it last season when we went there and we just got ripped apart by that Shiloh Tracy? Was it last season or the season before? It was last season. It was last season.
Yes, last season, yeah.
It just ripped us apart. And it was on the left-hand side mainly as well. So that would be interesting with Max Clark out there. Your hopes and aspirations for Saturday, mate?
Yeah, I think they'd like to hopefully kick on from the 3 points at the weekend. But for me, I think it's just a don't lose game. I think most Gills fans now have accepted that I don't think we're going to be in a playoff run. So I think they need to be going to these type of places. Phil mentioned it's not a happy hunting ground. Crewe are always a pretty decent League 2 outfit, and they're always kind of there or thereabouts. So if we can go there, compete, get a point, I'd be more than happy. But obviously, yeah, I think like you said, obviously we all want them to win. But yeah, no, I'll take a point.
On Valentine's Day as well, Ollie. So I think most of us will be glad to get away from our partners. Your thoughts on the game and your hopes and aspirations, mate.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. But Crewe are a really good side. That Tommy O'Reilly's going to be a big problem. He's one of the best players in this league, and I think Crewe are 4th or 5th in the division for home form as well. So they're a really good side at home. We don't tend to play very well there. I think we'll beat them 3-1.
3-1.
Ronan Hale will score 2, and Beckles will score.
If Ronan Hale scores and walks up to the away fans and blows a kiss on Valentine's Day,
yeah,
you know, like everyone's going to melt, aren't they?
Yeah,
not me. Not me. No, never. I've only got one love in football, and that's Cody McDonald. He's not going to be replaced anytime soon. So anyway, guys, as you do know, we are sponsored by Snodhurst Used Car Sales and Service Station and Wicked Creative, and in partnership with Her Game 2 and Sports Social Podcast Network. If you haven't yet, don't know why, you can join us on the Facebook group at The View from the Medway, follow us on X at TVFTM, or subscribe to the YouTube channel at The View from the Medway Fancast. Before we go, boys, any other business, and I'll go with Phil first.
The point I didn't make is I think also Saturday proved Warren's little point about Daki going forward. When we haven't got the ball, he is not the Daki of old, and we were carrying him effectively. But that said, I still would love to see him in the squad going forward next season, even if it's coming up. He may be coming off the bench with 20 minutes to go, and Antwi's maybe the main starter next season. We'll see. That's just one final point I've got to make. I want to say.
Yeah, please don't make Warren right, please, because we won't hear at the end of it for the next month. I told you. Anyway, David, your lasting thoughts before we shoot off.
No, I'm just going to go and see if I can put a tenner on Ronan Howe to get 250 goals.
I've already got it on me.
By the end of the season.
Yeah.
Cool. Can you imagine them odds?
No, but I was going to say, it's in all fairness, when you support a club like ours, especially now I'm in my early 40s, you look around to see the names on back of football fan shirts of the younger generation, and he could be the next one that when the kids get their new Jill shirts, they're going to go out, and I'm sure he won't be number 38 next year, but that they get Hale on the back of their shirt, and hopefully for him, he can carry it on, and he can be some young boy or girl's Cody McDonald like it was for you.
I wasn't even a boy, mate. It was 2008, 2009. 2000. Yeah, I was like 21, 22, so I wasn't even a child. So anyway, Ollie, any lasting thoughts before we shoot off, mate?
Yeah, the only thing I thought you guys might find interesting, I forgot to mention, was I can't remember where I heard it from, but apparently Akamea requested to come back to Gilles. So he was quite insistent that he come back here, which I found really interesting and liked. So he must have enjoyed his time here, and we probably took him back based on that as well. So
yeah, I do want to quickly touch. There was a comment earlier about Travis that his contract doesn't run out of Watford till 2028. I'm just trying to find it because there are quite a few comments tonight. I just haven't. Sorry, guys, I've not been able to read them all out, but where are we? I did see it. Whoever posted it, can you post it again? Can't see it. But yeah, apparently 2028 is when it runs out at Watford. So it might be a fee for us at the end of the season if we do decide to keep him on.
Or another loan.
Maybe another loan. But then, this is what annoys me with these clubs that are higher up. They just loan these young players out, loan them out, and then they run their contracts down and release them on a free anyway.
Maybe that's the thing though. Maybe actually they're looking to sell him or just actually release him. I know he's not out of contract, but maybe they're genuinely looking to release him. And
well, yeah. I mean, look at Andy Smith. He was at Hull, wasn't he? And then he came on loan to us last season, and then they released him back to us on a free. So
yeah, same with Masterson did it. Aimer did it back in the day as well.
Yeah. Oh, Max Aimer, Jesus. Well, I can't find it, so whoever posted it, I'm sorry, but I can't find it. Anyway, yeah. So if there's anything else, boys?
Not for me.
No. So we will be back next Monday to talk about the crew game. I don't know who will be on yet. It'll probably be me or David, or a combination of the two. Warren probably as well, and then one other. So I've been Chris. He's been David. He's been Ollie. He's been Phil. Good night. And up the Jules.
The view from the Medway.